Hello again, you're still watching Joy News Prime. I'm back with the second half of business. So a lot has happened this week in the Ghana retail market. A group of Ghanaian retail their Nigerian counterparts for competing, or they describe as competing with them on the retail market despite the country's law prohibiting them from such activities. This development has generated lots of controversy, with the latest threat coming from the Kai Spare Parts Dealers Association. They have actually given government 2 weeks to stop foreign retailers or take the law into their own hands. That's quite a serious threat. So in Nigeria, and how is the Ghanaian business community in Nigeria faring? Joining me by Skype is a business journalist, newspaper. Thanks so much for your time. And how much of an issue is this to a lot of...
Yeah, I can hear you better.
Great, thanks so much for your time. And I'm sure you've been talking to the business community in Nigeria. How much of an issue is this whole thing happening in Ghana of a deal to Nigerians?
Okay, of course, it is an issue for that raises alarm, but regardless of what is happening in Ghana or what we've been hearing, there's not been much reaction yet from the business community or from the government. But I think from what I've heard, people just feel like not all Nigerians are bad, and the businesses that they are operating there should probably be put into consideration. Not for it to be shut down and all of that, because we are a border country, so they should probably handle all these things with care. Yeah.
Right. Just walk me through. Do we have a lot of Ghanaian businesses there? Is it easy to tell if you get to a community, you realize that this is a Ghanaian community and that they have a lot of businesses there?
Okay. Yes, of course, there are a lot of Ghanaians in Nigeria that are doing businesses. They are striving. Some are doing very well. The only issue that I know of is the fact that Nigerians who are doing retail businesses, more specifically, are very competitive. As you know, Nigerians are very hardworking people, regardless of the fact that the small number of them don't represent the country very well in and outside. So Ghanaians are here and they are doing businesses. The only issue that any foreigner, not just Ghanaian, might be having to do business or retail trade in Nigeria will be the fact that Nigerians are very competitive in what they do in their entrepreneurial drive. They are very, very competitive. But you know, Nigeria is a large market. There is no policy or law by the government, to the best of my knowledge, that restricts foreigners from doing businesses in Nigeria. It's a wide market. The population is its market. So anyone can come to Nigeria and trade, and there is no problem. As long as they are able to hold up with the competition that Nigerians bring to them, it's not a problem.
What are they largely into, the Ghanaian businesses that they have? Are they in the retail market or?
Yeah, the retail market, mostly the retail market. You see them doing in clothes. Some bring their Ghana fabrics here to Nigeria. You see them in shops having retail supermarkets and cosmetics shops. So far, those are the ones I can tell you for sure that Ghanaians are into. The materials and the exporting of the Ghana material to Nigeria is something that you see very common.
I'm sure following this development in Ghana here, have you spoken to some Nigerian Ghanaian businesses, and do they feel secure where they are? Or they fear there could be a reprisal attack?
Okay, so yes, I've had the opportunity of speaking to one off record, not formally, just the chats, and so far they don't feel threatened because Nigeria, I can tell you for sure, not because I'm a Nigerian, everyone here almost behave like they are Nigerians. You find it very difficult to tell who is a Ghanaian from Nigeria. Most of them have lived here for years, so I don't think they feel threatened. They will feel parts like they are contributing to this country, they own something in this country, so they don't feel threatened. The one I have spoken to, they don't feel threatened.
Yeah, you spoke about the laws. You're not too sure whether there are laws. I just want to find out, we have clear laws on the retail market that prohibits foreigners from trading the retail market. I want to understand how your laws work when it comes to trading with foreigners.
Okay, so like I've told you before, to the best of my knowledge, our policy, the laws in Nigeria, there's none that states that there's restriction for foreigners coming to do retail or any form of businesses in Nigeria, as long as you follow the due processes and meet all requirements, which even Nigerians are subject to, there is no restriction or a law on ground that prohibits foreigners from having to do business in Nigeria.
Okay, let's debate a little bit before I let you go. Nigeria is here to sign on to the Continental Free Trade Agreement. Why is it so?
Okay, so yes, I know most African countries have signed.
Right.
According to my president, Muhammadu Buhari, I'll quote him on this. So he has said that one of the reasons why Nigeria is here to sign is because he doesn't want the country to be a dumping ground for finished goods. He doesn't want other African countries to use Nigeria because of its large market and its large population to take advantage of that and dump those, or some other foreign countries who might want to come in through other smaller African countries. And for now, they said they're studying the economic and security implication. So it's still under review. They're still trying to study it, and hopefully Nigeria will sign it, hopefully.
I'm grateful for your time. Endurance Okafor is a business journalist in Nigeria. He also writes for the Business Day newspaper. Two other stories now. It has emerged that Riverton in the Bono region, which was expected to host 55 megawatts of hydroelectricity power dam, will no more be reliable for the project. Visibility studies by the engineers have revealed that the river dries up during the Harmattan season, requiring an alternative source of energy. Joy Business's Nesta Kafri has actually been monitoring the situation and has brought us this report.
A $20 million project owned by Tapcon Ghana Limited was initially designed to establish an eco-tourist site, an airstrip, as well as a solar power station to help create 2,000 more jobs within the Wenchi municipality of the Bono region. Now, engineers are recommending a hybrid hydro-solar energy component, which according to them is more viable. Matthias Heider is the lead hydropower engineer with Fichtner in Germany.
The result of the feasibility study was that indeed, based on this fact that almost half of the year the power plants will not have sufficient water to operate, the financial viability is at stake. So our recommendation would be to reconsider the idea of another small PV plant next to the hydropower site in order to operate them as a hybrid plant. So once there's sunshine, the hydropower plant does not need to operate.
Construction of the hydroelectric dam and other components was scheduled to start in February this year, but CEO of Tapcon Ghana Limited, Oheneba Dr. Krebri Boating Tebri, said the delay is normal.
There was only a delay in planning. It's basically engineering and architectural works. And planning sometimes take very long time. For you to complete a complete hydroelectric dam, we have a minimum of about 2 to 3 years in engineering, planning and designs until the contractor comes to the site. The same thing applies to the proposed airport.
Oheneba Dr. Krebri Boating Tebri explained they have accepted the recommendations of the engineers from
made more $64.16 a barrel. Gold is continuing its upward trend to trade at $1,388.47 a ton after a $28.09 gain. The update of the commodity market is up next. We say bye-bye on business with me, Sandra Esinam Apeno. There's always more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Have a